So today we are going to discuss about the Docker file. We'll create the Docker file and we'll build it. We'll push to the registry. So given the Docker file, so one instance is enough. So what are the ports yesterday we opened for Docker spam? What are the ports we opened to communicate with the Docker spam?
2376,
2376, 2377. And if you have a Docker file, okay, how we can do the how we can build the image? How we can build the image? What is the command to build the image?
Docker build.
The Docker build -t, the tag, and I'm going to take the image. The Docker has been installed. I'm adding the Docker permissions. And now we need to create one Docker file. So I'll create one directory. So my app I'm giving. Then here I'm going to get one Docker file for Tomcat from scratch. We'll try to build. I'll take the help of ChatGPT. The Docker file from Tomcat from CentOS I'm trying to do. So that means I'm using from the scratch. The base image here is CentOS. So CMD we have given all these. I'll copy this Docker file. So what is the name of the Docker file we need to keep is Docker file. So Docker file is my, then in insert mode. Maybe I may get the error maybe at 9.0.50. This I may need to replace with what is the exact version of Tomcat I have. That I'll try to do it. So now this is the Docker file we have. Okay. So now what are the instructions we have in this Docker file is, so try to understand this Docker file. So now we have used from CentOS latest I have used, and you can keep your email ID here. We can keep the like, and it's installing all 1.8. These if you don't want 1.8, 1.11, you want all those also you can modify. And it is taken Tomcat 9.0.550. Okay, but this version of download is not available. We'll take the latest one, and it is installing a lot of run commands, all those, and CMD. As of now, it doesn't have any var file deployment. Later, we'll with the version 2, we'll try to deploy this. So now I have written all these in my Docker file. Okay, then I'm going to build it. Say Docker build -t my Tomcat :1. As of now, version 1 I'm giving, and the dot meaning is in the local directory I have my Docker file. Okay, so then from that command, it is going to build the image. So, but now the latest one is the telling build X component. From that, try to build the images. It is telling, say in the run update. That open JDK, that package may be not available. Mm, 1 second. So that CentOS instead of latest. CentOS 8, I'll try to do. In that CentOS latest one, that M mirror list is not available. If 8 is not available, I'll try with CentOS 7. Again, I'm going to build the image. Upstream that is not available for the 8 image. 1 second. Now it is downloading CentOS 7. With the 7, that mirror is available, but 8 also, inside that 8 image, that mirror may be different. We need to try with different M packages. It's taking some time. That M update is taking some time. So this is just for practice purpose. We don't use in the real time. We'll take from the Tomcat base image, we'll deploy. To understand purpose, we are doing this. So we'll take the from Tomcat image itself, we'll take and we will install. But as of now, we have taken the CentOS base image. On top of that, we are building all this. Any doubts on this?
Sir, in real time, from where we'll get this file? Do we need to take it from ChatGTP or?
No, no. For most of them in the Docker samples they will give. See this Tomcat one we can get it even from the Tomcat Docker file also, because they'll also take one base image from that itself they will build. For Java Spring, for all those in the Docker they will give it, and we need to also get some as per our requirements. We need to customize as per our requirements. Recently we are using ChatGPT, but before that we have all these Docker files we will have.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, how to use it from Docker samples also. For every technology stack, they will give the Docker file corresponding to that. In that, we need to modify as per our requirements. 90% it matches. Like 5 to 10% of the changes according to our requirement, we need to modify. We will see what happens. Still, that is downloading all that. M update. That CentOS 7 is old image, right? That is the reason it took a lot of time. With that, instead of CentOS, you can try with Ubuntu, you can try with Alpine. Mostly in the OS base images, people will use Alpine. And from the archive, that 9.0.50 also is available. It's downloading that. Normally, we don't do all this for the understanding purpose. I'm explaining. So in the real time, we are going to use from Tomcat image, we are going to use. So now here, my Tomcat one is uh, uh, builded. The Docker images, CentOS 7, 8 latest is already done. My Tomcat 1 we got. My Tomcat 1 we got. Okay, say which are not important, I'm going to remove. So this one is not at all required. Is not able to delete that. Then -f we can use it. Force we can use it. But my Tomcat 1 is our required one. Okay, so now in the same Docker file, what I'm going to do is from the same Docker file, I'm going to add one more step, try to understand. Say before CMD, I'm adding a copy command. So most of the instructions will keep in the capital letters itself, and I'll download one var file called jenkins.var file. Okay, and I need to copy this one into user local Tomcat web apps. User local Tomcat web apps folder. Jenkins var file I'm going to copy. But here in my local system, I should have jenkins.var file. If I run this one, it will fail because if I build it again, it will fail because locally I don't have jenkins.var file. Okay, so I need to download it. Locally, I'm going to download this one. 1 second.
Sir, if you use add, it will download
Yeah,
from.
even if it is from the remote URL, if you want to add, you can use the but always is recommended to use the copy command itself. We'll try that. Otherwise, even with the curl also, we can try that. Run curl that download, we can do it. So this is not the var file path. So now what we are doing is using wget locally, I'm going to download it. This is not the URL. Yeah, this is the package. That WAR file is getting downloaded. So now I'll build it. So this time instead of version 1 of the Docker image, I'm going to give you 2. Okay, again, if any new code comes for that application, again you can give the new tag. Okay, so now so we got my Tomcat 1 is one, my Tomcat 2 is another one. For the same thing, I want to give even latest also. For the same thing, I want to give the latest also. It won't take that much time because already that layers are there. It is getting cached from those layers. Now we will get one like a latest image also. We got 1, 2, and 2 is almost equal to latest itself. Okay, so both are maybe not the same size because here my Tomcat 1 is 617 only, but in that again Jenkins.var is added, right? That is the reason these two both we got around 704 MB. And one more layer also has been added with the copy or add run commands. We'll add more layers in order to reduce that kind of layers what we are going to use. In that what we are going to use multi-stage Docker files. So we are going to use the multi-stage Docker files. So now instead of doing the same thing, what I'm going to do is I'll use Tomcat image. So this time I'm taking the base image is 9. And I'm copying one inside the image. This time we are going to use Tomcat 9. So then this will reduce lot of steps for us. So this what we are doing here is I'm going to use the Tomcat 9. That means all the steps of taking the CentOS and installing the JDK or installing downloading the Java files or downloading the Tomcat binaries and all those steps we no need to perform. Here instead
So
of
when
this,
we are taking Tomcat 9,
yeah,
which OS it's taking here, sir?
that is in the Tomcat 9. What is the official image they have used? That will come. That is the Tomcat 9 base image. Officially, Docker has given that image for us.
No, sir. Generally, when
No,
we
no,
create our OS,
that is
right?
their responsibility, not our decision. That is.
Okay.
So that Docker will take mostly the JDK or Alpine kind of images. Again, in that in the Docker Hub, we can get that. If you go to Docker Hub, say you search for in the Docker Hub, you search for Tomcat image. There you can see that image Docker file also. So we search for Tomcat 9, right? So you go to official, these are not the official one. Okay. So here, which image you want? Tomcat. So this is Tomcat. Almost how many downloads it is having? 500 plus millions is there. So in this, we have the different tags also. If you don't use any tag, it is going to use the latest one. These are all the different tags we have. So which one you want, accordingly, you can choose. JRE, which one you want. These are all again the different tags we have. So if you go to this tag, say here, these all the different layers they have added. Say here, what is the image they use? Something Eclipse, something they have taken this. From this base image, they have built the Tomcat. For different tags, they may use the different OS images. So for different tags, they may use the different OS images. If you want that particular tag, here this one we need to use 0.87-JRE17. Okay, the base images are different in all these.
Okay.
Okay, so which one is compatible for you? Say suppose you have JDK is required. So accordingly, we are going to choose this one. Okay, so how many vulnerabilities are there also? It is scanned results also, it is showing. These are all the different OS images they have. From this, we can see even that Dockerfile related images also. So here Eclipse they have used, and most of them are on top of Ubuntu they are going to use. These are all the layers that has been added. Okay, so that's their responsibility, but we had taken the official Tomcat and we given. Now I'm going to write a new Docker file, but in this we can't keep. I'll go outside. I'll create one more directory, my Tomcat, because in one directory we can keep only one Docker file only. My Tomcat. Here I'm going to create one more Docker file. Okay. So in this, what I'm keeping is. Say this application dot var what we need to keep. Maybe we need to keep the Jenkins dot var file. Jenkins dot var file. And that label also you modify with your email ID. Okay, so this is our Docker file. If I run it, this will fail. Again, I need to download that because I changed the directory, right? So from this is going to build that var file. So now that build, sorry, it's downloaded. Now I'm going to check the Docker file. So we have Jenkins.var. Sudo is not mandatory. Docker build -t. My Jenkins, I'll giving the name :1 dot. So now this is going to download Tomcat 9. From that is going to build it. So now that my Tomcat it got. Okay, so then Docker images. So with the Docker images, my Jenkins :1 we got it. If tomorrow again you got a new code change, again you can rebuild it. In that it copies the new var file. So that new var file is going to copy. Okay. So now we'll come to Docker compose. In each and every compose file, or yesterday we deployed a voting app, right? Even if you go to this voting app Docker GitHub. So in this also for every file, yesterday we deployed as a stack, but here we'll have the Docker files. The Docker files will build for practice purpose. Every microservice for your microservice based application will have the Docker file. Okay, so now Jenkins, here I'm going to clone that. The voting app yesterday we deployed as a stack purpose. CD example. So now if you go to this folder structure, result is there, one worker is there, then we have vote is there. I'll go to result. So here we have one Docker file or not? So we have one Docker file. Okay, so that Docker file, we'll see what is the Docker file. Okay, so what is the base image they have used?
Node 18.
Node, that means it's maybe Node.js or React.js based application. Okay, so this I'll try to build it. So then Docker build -t. I'm going to give my voting something, or this is result, right? My result image :1. I'm going to give dot. Now that node 18 slim is getting downloaded. On top of that, all the layers are going to be added. So yesterday in the swamp file or stack file we use, right? What they done is already that image they have already built and they push that we have used. And here we are getting some warnings, all those, right? In the real time, maybe that compatibilities, all these we need to closely work with the developer also. So now here we got sudo docker images if I use. So that my result image we got. But if I go to this swamp file or stack file, so now here docker-stack I have, right? So if I go to this stack file, what is this? Try to understand. Result. What is this meaning of image? Docker-samples example. So what we can replace here instead of this? So they already built one image and they pushed that image to Docker Hub. That image they have used. But now what we done? What we have done is we build our own image. But when we build that image, you can give that image instead of this Docker sample / example voting app. I think we have given my voting app : what is the tag we have given? 1. That one tag if you keep and try to run this stack file. So that means already they have used this stack file for us. So that is the reason we got that. Yesterday we didn't run the Docker files. Already that images have been run and those have been pushed to Docker Hub. So now just now we build the images. We need to push to our Docker Hub. Okay. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? So if you have 15 microservices, how many Docker files would be there? If you have 15 microservices,
15.
how many? 15 Docker files. And that folder structure also in your directory, each microservice will have one folder. And for that, again, we'll have, say, suppose if you have CD worker, okay, what we will have is in that again, we'll have a Docker file. Here, Docker file is there, right? How to build it? I didn't go to that image. My worker, I'm going to give. Sorry, Docker build -t my worker image : 1 I have given. dot I'm going to give. But if I give the dot, I don't have any local Docker file there. Then I need to give the directory. In my worker directory, again I have my, in my worker directory, again I have my, what I have, my Docker file is there. Okay, so that is like for Windows based, we need to pass the platform also, but voting will create that worker. We need to run the platform, but my voting image, and I'm giving the tag is one, and the folder name is vote. So for each microservice, all the base images is not mandatory same. For the like worker, they use some Python, and for the result they use something. Here they use Python. Like this, we have the different packages we have. So my voting image also. So we got, so like this, all the Docker, we are going to build the images. If we have the 15 microservices, need to scan the images, and where we need to store all these images in the real time,
Docker.
Docker Hub, and in your stack file, compose file, that image name we need to specify. So now here in this example, if you go to this stack file, they kept Docker sample slash example loading app, right? Our own repo name slash our own image name. And if you don't give any tag, what is going to happen? Latest, if you want to run any particular tag, then give that tag name also. Then we need to deploy them into the stack or Kubernetes. In the Kubernetes also, we are going to use the same images. Yeah, any doubts on this? Say after building, what we need to do in the real time for before deployment? So after build, what we need to do before deployment? So we need to scan that and push to the Docker Hub. Then through Compose, we are going to deploy. So this here we have the Docker, right? I'll try to run them through Compose. Okay, so then I'm trying to install Docker Compose on this mission. Compose installation on Ubuntu we have. So go to official website itself is better. Compose I'm going to install. Which you have is Ubuntu. Okay, then apt-get update, and through apt-get itself they have given this. Say in the Docker engine environment itself, Compose will work. In the Swarm mode, we are going to use the stack. Docker Compose. Maybe need to update it. Otherwise, I'll try to run it manually. Yeah, so now here Docker Compose manually I have installed it. Then we need to get the compose file. So here instead of stack file, they given the compose file also. Almost the compose file also looks like a stack file itself, but in the swarm mode we are going to deploy the stack file. Here we are going to run the like a compose file. And docker-compose.yaml. So here it's going to create almost all the same images, but one replica only we will get. So now here Docker compose up -d. Then it is going to create all those images and network storage, all those are getting created. And the local images are going to build, and from that also it is going to create. So in the stack mode or swarm mode, we can't build the images. What we can do is only we can use already built images only. But here it is building the images also. So what is the difference between compose and stack file? Compose is only normal Docker engine environment, it is working. The stack file is in the swarm mode, it is going to work. And this will create only one Docker, five services. If we have 5 containers, it would be created. So now if you go for all those are worker, all these are running. And Docker compose, if I do down, it will uninstall all those packages also. Networks, volumes, all those also would be removed. Sorry, volumes are not deleted. Networks and the containers would be removed. So the same thing we did in the yesterday stack file, but here we have done through the, okay, but in the real time, in the middle, we have one more step or 2 steps are there. What are those is, say, I'll explain here. So we need to build the images. We need to build the images from where? From Dockerfile. After once we build the images, what we need to do? Scan the images. Tag the images. What is this tag? I'll explain. Compatible with the our own registry name, we need to tag it. Push to registry. This registry may be Docker Hub, or say ECR, Elastic Container Registry, or ACR, or maybe DTR. Okay, after this, deploy as Docker containers or compose or stack or In Kubernetes also, we are going to deploy. We are going to deploy them even in the Kubernetes also. In order to scan the images, okay, so Docker has given one utility called as Docker scan previously. Now they called that as scout. So Docker scout. Okay, so then tag that compatible name, we need to tag it and need to push them to the registry. Okay, so then in order to run these kind of applications, we have Docker compose samples are there. Try to run these all sample apps. Awesome compose, there is one GitHub registry or repository is there. Okay, so these all the things you can use for the practice, and how to write the Docker files, all those. Please download that GitHub repo. So now in say you have maybe you have a Java Spring Boot or Node.js and Nginx or like this here we have all the Docker files, everything we are going to get it. So I'll copy this one. CD example or awesome hyphen example is our repo. Then in that each one is one technology stack. So assume I want to go for Spring and Postgre. Spring and Postgre. Then if I go for LS, say here one is backend, that go to that backend folder. In this, they'll have the Docker file. Say for the Spring Boot application, that sample Docker file, from here we are going to get it. From here we are going to, and they use in here again the Eclipse Temurian image itself as the builder image they have used. From this you can build the images. Otherwise what we can do is, if you come to this compose.yaml, in the compose.yaml, instead of image, if I give build backend, can you tell me what it is going to do? Here we given Postgre, here we given build backend. What is the difference between those two? This compose itself is creating the image also. As of now, we don't have the image. What we have in the backend directory? What we have in the backend directory? What we have in the backend directory? So we have the Docker file. So we have the Docker file. From that, what happens? It is taking the Docker file and it is building that image also. When I do the Docker compose up, try to understand. Docker compose up -d means detach mode. So what it is doing is it is building the image from that backend folder. We have a Docker file, but this kind of option is not supported in the swarm mode. In the swarm mode, before itself, we need to build the image. It is building that. Said that someone asked, right, from where we can get from this Docker awesome compose for your technology stack. What we have, the most of the Docker files and compose files will get the sample. This is the official one from Docker itself. In this mandatory, you need to deploy this Prometheus and the Grafana one, and this Nginx related, Python related, Node.js related, and the Java Spring Boot related, try to deploy. So this all running, still it is creating the image itself. If already image is there, what we can do? Instead of build that image, that build name we can specify. So now that network volume, okay, backend image also is created and two containers created. Already DB1 is used from the image itself Postgre, but backend one is created one Docker image also. Say if I go for Docker images, that backend image also Spring backend image, because 25 seconds ago itself that has been created. But we didn't create it using Docker build command. Who created that is Docker Compose itself has created that one. Okay, so these samples try to finish everything. Everyone is almost one image kind itself, but understand all the Docker files, configuration settings, compose files, all that. Try to write down also the Docker files for important Spring Boot, Node.js, React.js, Python applications. Try to write down those Docker files also. In your real time also you can tell, in our project also we have the same Docker file. 90% would be the same. Only your application code is going to be changed. Anyhow, application code is responsibility of the developer itself. And for tomorrow, everyone create one Docker Hub account also. Create one Docker Hub account. Okay. I'll share this video and try to finish all these steps. Different Docker files, get it from ChatGPT or from these, all these also, if you practice, it's good enough. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sure. And delete that instance.
Okay.